Welcome to Module 2, Lesson 1, where we're going to discuss high-performance mental skills for your student athletes. Before we get into the details, meet Miles. You've worked with Miles for a while, all through his high school baseball career, and you know that he's immensely talented. Miles has the goal of landing a full-ride scholarship to play baseball in the NCAA, either Division I or Division II. You've noticed Miles getting heated in games lately. He's always been a good sport all through his high school career, but the frustration is written all over his face when he makes a mistake or when a teammate of his makes a mistake. You've noticed several heavy sighs coming from his direction while putting equipment away after practice, and you feel like he has a shorter fuse than he has in years past. Well, we're going to discuss how we can use 4 different high-performance mental skills to help pull Miles out of his funk to reach his goal. What we're going to discuss today includes goal setting, self-talk, arousal control, and visualization and imagery. Let's get started with goal setting. There are 2 primary categories individuals can use to clarify their goals to refine their high-performance mental skills. Those 2 categories include outcome and process goals. Outcome goals refer to the end result, the desired endpoint or outcome of a specific endeavor. These are typically goals we see around New Year's resolutions or birthdays, but without the proper work behind them, outcome goals are not usually impactful enough on their own. Process goals are these smaller, action-oriented goals that bring you closer to the end result. You'll likely craft multiple process goals for the same end result or outcome goal, and these process goals will put you in a position to achieve the end result successfully. Both outcome and process goals are necessary in the pursuit of excellence. A goal-setting best practice would be to start with outcome goals and then continue to process goals, as opposed to having the outcome goals exist by themselves. As coaches, many of us have used SMART goals before. SMART goals is the formula we recommend when it comes to setting outcome goals, as it provides a certain amount of clarity in respect to you being able to assess your goals and your progress. SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Let's look at a SMART goal specifically for Miles. His goal of getting to the NCAA could look like earn a full ride scholarship to an NCAA institution by my senior season. That follows the SMART goal formula, as it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. When it comes to setting his process-oriented goals, you want to think about the relevant action items necessary to make progress towards his overall SMART goal. Again, for Miles, this could look like completing 90% of his strength training in the off-season, getting 8 hours of sleep per night during baseball season, and completing a minimum of 3 hours per week on recruiting research. There are several other best practices when it comes to setting and achieving your goals. These include actually writing down your goals. Writing out your goals and placing them in a visible location that you see every day actually increases your chances of success of achieving that goal by 40 to 100%. This is something athletes can do on their locker, or business leaders and coaches can do on their smartphones or on their tablets. Break your goal into manageable components. By breaking down your goal into manageable sections, you are actually able to give yourself ample opportunities to assess how your goal is going. This allows you to make adjustments as needed, celebrate the small wins, and reduce the overwhelm of the overarching goal in mind. And finally, understanding your why. Understanding your why, or your reasoning, or your justification for pursuing your goal will help you when the work gets tough in the pursuit. You will be able to acknowledge that at some point the work will get hard, and your reasoning must be strong enough to push through those hard periods. Moving on to the second high-performance skill, self-talk. Self-talk refers to the stories we tell ourselves about our abilities, our experiences, our likelihood of success, and more. We actually have up to 50,000 thoughts per day, and the majority, 3 times as many in fact, are negative. It's believed that we're hardwired for negative thoughts as a protective mechanism for survival. Now that humans don't need to be on guard every second of the day to survive, we need to learn to flip the script to become elite performers. Shifting your self-talk from primarily negative to primarily positive or opportunistic, think growth mindset, thoughts is a skill that needs to be learned and rehearsed like anything else. It is similar to how you cannot just flip a switch and know how to execute a technical skill in sports. Reframing your self-talk is something that will get easier with time and practice. There are 2 key strategies we can practice when it comes to shifting our self-talk. The first is thought replacement, and the second is staying in the moment. Thought replacement is the act of shifting from negative thoughts to positive thoughts. Sounds simple, right? Here's the catch. You first must be able to establish an awareness around what your negative thought patterns even are. You may not recognize that your negative thoughts are having an impact on your performance, as they're so ingrained that you believe them to be true 100% of the time. Keeping a journal on your thoughts and beliefs about certain tasks and achievements can help you become aware of what even needs to shift within your mindset. Once you've identified a negative thought that you'd like to replace, you can craft a new positive thought to recite instead. This can look like, I'm such a slow runner, right? Maybe this is something Miles is telling himself every day at practice. I'm such a slow runner. You can shift this to, my endurance is improving every day. For an assistant coach or for someone stepping into a leadership role, the negative thought might be, I'm a terrible public speaker. You can shift that to a positive thought by stating, people are excited to hear what I have to say. Both of these negative thoughts require that awareness that they even exist, which is why it can be helpful to keep a journal. The second strategy when it comes to improving your self-talk has been staying in the moment. Your brain cannot actually hold 2 thoughts at once, which means that staying in the moment and focusing on the positive thoughts doesn't even allow your brain the capacity to self-sabotage or to think negative thoughts. Whether you're using an effective thought replacement strategy or just using simple cues to focus on the task at hand, staying in the present moment is a key strategy to helping you and your student athletes achieve success with reframing your self-talk. This is a great test of the overdubbed jipper. Perfectionists have a harder time with this. They have a harder time staying in the moment as their brain is hardwired to find flaws in certain situations or within themselves. Do we think Miles is a perfectionist? This is an excellent time to remind you or your student athletes that this takes work. This takes practice. Just because staying in the moment doesn't come easily for you right away doesn't mean it never will. The third high-performance mental skill we're going to discuss today is arousal control. Arousal control is the act of regulating your physiology and managing your stress response. This includes your fight or flight response, which is managed by the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system gets activated when there's a real or perceived threat around. When it comes to high-performance mental skills, it's important to note that your body can't tell the difference between different types of stress. It doesn't know if you're going into a job interview, or you're playing in the NCAA Final Four, or you're being chased by a bear. The physiological reaction is the same: increased breathing, increased heart rate, diversion of blood and oxygen from the GI tract to the muscles, etc. Mentally, you may become hyper-focused on negative thoughts, become tense or anxious, become nitpicky, or even have your mind go blank. Being able to control this physiological response is a key high-performance mindset strategy, as controlling your response to stress allows you to perform how you want to and how you know you are capable of performing, whether that's athletically or professionally. Breathing is one of the few mechanisms that we consider autonomic and conscious, i.e., it happens without us thinking about it, and we can alter our breathing in specific ways. Taking deep breaths or belly breaths when we're stressed or anxious is basically telling the brain that you're safe, that there's nothing to worry about, that there's not a threat at hand. You can use the 4 to 6 technique to calm your arousal. This means that you're taking a deep inhalation for 4 counts and a deep exhalation for 6. This is deeper and slower than your normal cadence, which is exceptional at calming down the nervous system. A second best practice for arousal control is power naps. Humans are chronically not getting enough sleep, and a power nap, ideally between 20 and 40 minutes in length, and again, ideally in the afternoon, is an effective way of making up that sleep deficit. Napping is actually more effective than caffeine when it comes to improving your verbal memory, motor skills, and learning. A third best practice when it comes to promoting arousal control is practicing mindfulness. We've already discussed the benefits of staying in the present moment for self-talk and thought replacement, and we actually believe that mindfulness is so incredibly important. We have a whole future module on this coming up. Let's take a look at how we would use arousal control for Miles. We've already discussed appropriate goal setting for both process and outcome goals, and how he can shift his thought replacement strategies. Take a moment to answer the following question and pause the video if you have time. How would you present or incorporate breathing exercises into your practice or game plan? If Miles is suffering from some type of perfectionism or he's having trouble regulating his arousal, it's likely that other members of your team would benefit from the same type of breathing exercises, which is why we wouldn't single Miles out. We'll discuss some various scripts and options in the learning applications section. The fourth and final high performance skill we're going to discuss today is visualization and imagery. Similar to how your body can't tell the difference between different types of stress, your brain can't tell the difference between real and imagined or perceived events. This is the reason behind visualization being such a powerful high-performance mental skill. Visualization is defined as the act of picturing in your mind exactly how you want to perform a skill. Imagery is a more advanced practice of visualization that includes all of your senses, so sight, smell, hearing, touch, and taste. Visualization and imagery can help with confidence, composure, and concentration. Practicing imagery is like getting additional reps or practice in without stressing your nervous system or your physiology. Let's get into some of the learning applications for visualization and imagery and goal setting, self-talk, and arousal control.